So hello everyone. Today I wanted to talk about the 5 biggest challenges I think that young creatives are facing too. And I wanted to share it with you because I think it's an interesting topic and maybe ask you about your opinion and your experience. So I think that the first challenge would be probably money because if you just graduate from high school or even university and you might not feel ready for the industry, or you want to kind of set up your own business and freelance practice, then you might struggle in your first years, because you might not have enough clients, because you might need to also work part-time or even full-time in order to pay your bills. And that's a little bit problematic because obviously if you work full-time or part-time, it might take a lot of your energy, especially if the job is not like your kind of dream job or whatever. And it just might take a lot of your free time or the time you could invest into your practice and developing your practice and your skills. So I think that's the first obstacle, and it's also really hard to dedicate your free time to improving your skills because you might feel tired and you might have other responsibilities as well. So I think that's a real struggle, and you really need to be motivated. And with this also comes maybe uh, the lack of space, because most of young people, they don't own their own properties and they usually don't have money to hire studios, or a lot of young creatives would kind of maybe get a big room and set up a studio in there, or they would hire a house together with other creatives and they would turn their living room into a studio space. So if you're an artist or creative who needs a studio space, this will be probably the first struggle, because you really need to budget and you really need to think if you actually need a studio space or not. Then the second thing, I think that the struggle is the lack of connections. Obviously, if you go to university, it might be helpful. It might be actually more helpful to get your connections there, because I feel this is one of the biggest advantage of going to university and studying like really what you want, because then you get to know a lot of other creatives or people who you can maybe collaborate in future. But yeah, maybe if you just got into the industry after your high school, then this might be a challenge because you might not know anyone. And there's many Facebook groups, or maybe also some other groups at some other social platforms where you can like meet fellow creatives and kind of like get together and create something amazing together, and these will be your first connections, and you kind of never know where these people end up and who might end up giving you a job or who might end up being your client. So I think that's really important as a young creative to collaborate a lot and just work on your social skills and communication skills, and really build a wide network, because obviously people who have been in the industry for like 10 years, they will have big connections. And this creative industry especially really rely on connections, and like many people would hire rather their friends and would not even get opportunity to other people because it's just easier to work with people you already know. This is just a thing to realize, and it's good to work on your network from the beginning. Then the third thing would be that people expect you to work for free or for less money, and that a lot of clients might not have necessary respect or the same respect as they would have for professionals working in the industry for 10 years, and I guess it like makes sense, but I also think that just because you're young, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have less experience than other people. And then if you create the same quality of work as other people, then I think you should get the uh, same salary. If you have a look at intern positions, they will be usually unpaid. And yeah, if you people just look at the young creators as someone who they can kind of exploit, or a lot of companies are actually really dependent on interns who work for free. So this is a thing which you should count with, and you should maybe um, just like make yourself a valuable practitioner and really ask for money. And you should learn to ask for money and not work for free all the time. You can maybe even ask for a little money, or just kind of try to like negotiate everything. But I think it's true that people will usually expect young creatives work for less. It's also problematic because of there is a lot of competition between young creatives, or like between creatives who like haven't established themselves yet. So the problem is that a lot of people would work for free just to improve their portfolio. So then, there should work some kind of a unity between all creatives, and everyone should ask for a minimal wage, minimal fee, because this would protect everyone. So let's say if everyone who is taking pictures would ask for at least £25 per hour, then and no one would ever work for free again, then everyone would get minimum £25 per hour. But the problem is that like people really don't stick together, and there will be some people who will rather do some things for free in order to get the pictures for their portfolio, which yeah, it's just a little bit sad for the other people. And not just for the other people, also for the people who took this job for free, because yeah, they could have been paid as well. Then the fourth thing would be kind of the knowledge how to negotiate and all the legal stuff and communication skills and all these kind of like emailing and maybe taxing and setting up your own business. I feel this is a struggle, because if you're a new photographer or a creative and you don't have anyone in your family like who is doing kind of the same thing, or who can like give you advice how to set up your own business, then I find this very challenging to like go on these government websites and just like find out what I need to tax, what I don't need to tax, and how to do all this legal stuff. And then again, I find challenging to ask for money via email when someone expects me to work for free, or just kind of denegotiating and trying to avoid being exploited. So for sure, someone with many years of experience, they would probably know these things, and they would know how much should they ask for a photo shoot or for any other thing. I think that young creatives would also struggle with having less work opportunities, obviously, because they maybe haven't established themselves yet, and a lot of times their clients, they would be working with them for the first time. And I feel it kind of happens like when you work for one client and someone else see the pictures, then they might ask you, oh, I really like this, way to do this for me as well. So it's again about like spreading your work everywhere, and the more collaborations and the more clients you have, then you might get more work because of that. So I think that's also really hard to like just get these clients who will be coming back to you, and yeah, just finding more clients because you have obviously less references in your portfolio than the professionals with 10 years of experiences. Yeah, and I think this is actually all. I think I want to do also a video about the biggest like advantages which young creatives have, kind of the free mind and coming with new ideas. Yeah, I think this was all. Like, let me know what is your experience being a young creative, and I'm sure that like this is so like subjective. Also, like people coming from different backgrounds might have different opinions and experiences, but yeah, definitely let me know. You can follow my Instagram, you can have a look at my website, and you can subscribe if you're into content about art and fashion and photography. And I will see you next time.